So if you've been on TikTok recently, or if you're in any part of the internet that's like one bad day away from starting a cult, you've probably seen the phrase propaganda I'm not falling for floating around.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hellies? What the hellions?
Propaganda in this economy, it's more common than you'd think. It's a trend going around where people list the propaganda that they're not falling for, and by propaganda I think they just mean things they don't like very much. In fact, I think the only firm rule with this trend is that you have to list things that are definitely not propaganda. It would just throw the vibes all the way off. To me, it just seems like a trend that's calling out the weird little lies that we've all collectively accepted as normal, from hustle culture to relationship expectations to why the hell everyone is now buying Labubu dolls. When I first saw the word Labubu, I thought it was Gen Z slang and it was another form of like Delulu. Maybe for lobotomies, like I've had a Labubu, you know? Boy, was I wrong. We'll get to that later. Personally, I think QR code menus are a form of propaganda we've all just blindly accepted as normal. But we'll circle back to that. We'll come back to the QR code rant. It's coming though. Okay, what do we got? Health propaganda I'm not falling for. Tell us, queen. Sunscreen. Okay, we're off to a good start. Vaccines, typical. Fat-free? Okay. You know what? Hell yeah. Soy milk. Why? Birth control. Bacteria is harmful. Oh my god, how many? Again, we addressed this in the video that I did a month ago on wellness influencers and how they're like drinking piss and eating rotten meat and all that jazz. Okay, so bacteria is not harmful now, that's fine. You know what? I can't even leave that alone. I can't even make a joke of it. Bacteria is a lot of things, you know? Like bacteria is harmful being propaganda. It is. It just is. Sometimes. Other bacteria are quite helpful. It's just something that is sometimes incompatible with human life on this planet, you know? That's just a fact. That is not up for debate. Chemtrails equals natural, okay. Fluoride, toothpaste, righto. Plant-based, apparently propaganda, okay. Vegetables are propaganda, you heard it here first. This one confuses me. Safe and effective as a concept, as a phrase? Do we get any more context on that is my question. Red meat equals cancer is propaganda. I don't know how common of a belief that even is. More people eat meat than people that don't, but I digress. Raw milk is unsafe. Again, very much can be. That's why they started pasteurizing it. But anyway, don't worry about it. Bonus points to the wellness influencers that buy raw milk and then boil it. AKA they are pasteurizing it. Because that's what pasteurizing is. Can we get through this without going on rants? Probably not possible. Sugar-free, okay girl. Cooming, chat, what the hell is cooming? Do I want to know what cooming is? What is it? Polyester, okay, and EMF is safe, right. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. This is what's been all over my feed recently. So the guy who posted is in the comments saying tetanus is a scam. I hope he's just trolling at this point. This is a lovely list. Some of the things that I feel common sense. Others, you know, bacteria isn't harmful. It is sometimes. It's not really a black and white statement, right? But to say that no bacteria is harmful is fucking crazy. Propaganda I'm not falling for. Charlie XCX? What? You didn't like Apple? What do you mean? This girl did not have a brat summer and she's taking it out on Charlie, I believe. Trader Joe's? Can't comment. Never been in one. I hear they have food there. I don't know. Run clubs, hard agree. Propaganda I'm not falling for personally. Run clubs, absolutely queen. Marriage being about compatibility, not covenant. Right, so you should want to be compatible with the person you are going to be shackled to for the rest of your life. It should be a bare minimum. Again, that's just me. Barrel jeans? Barrel jeans. When did this happen? When the hell did, this is the thing that everyone they get on the TikToks and they pull their jeans. Okay. Men can't lead with love. I don't think anyone thinks or says that. They tend not to, but that's a choice. Vegetables are poison? You kind of have to reverse engineer this because she's saying she's not falling for the fact that vegetables are poison. When did anyone say that vegetables were poison? When has anyone ever said that? I feel vegetables have been thoroughly encouraged always. Espresso martinis, what happened? She had a big night on espresso martinis and she's taking it out on all espresso martinis. Okay. I feel the same way about tequila. So makeup wipes. Sometimes I read these and I'm like, what are your values? I'm very confused as to where she leans, politically or otherwise, but honestly I'm obsessed with the complete lack of direction or coherence in this list. That God is okay with divorce if you're unhappy. Again, I think it's pretty firmly known that God or religion, Christianity is not okay with divorce. I just also think, who cares? Acai bowls, okay, she's had a bad acai bowl as well, and it's going on the list. Smoothie was a bit runny, straight on the list. Not enough granola, on the list. Living together before marriage, okay. Some of these beliefs are feeding into the others, because if you don't live with someone before you marry them, you don't know what they're like to live with, and you don't really know what they're like day to day. At their most core of themselves, you don't know what they're like, which would explain why she's not concerned with compatibility, because she's not going to know about it. And she's also okay with being trapped in this circumstance where those things don't work out. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Snapchat after 19 years old, hard agree. If you're an adult with Snapchat, grow up. Night owls? Why am I catching strays right now? Mammograms, I'm sorry. This woman contains multitudes. I think we can all agree. She can pry espresso martinis from my cold dead hands, but otherwise a very confusing and honestly quite a disorienting list. No idea what this woman is about. You know what propaganda I absolutely am falling for? The sponsor of this video, Jackery. Jackery are the legends behind portable power stations that keep your devices alive when you're off the grid. Whether that's in the middle of nowhere camping or if your power goes out at your house, which it did at my house for a week. For an entire week when we had a cyclone come through here back in March. This is the Explorer 2000 Plus, and had I have had this bad boy back during the cyclone, my food wouldn't have gone off in the fridge. And yes, you can run a fridge off this thing. You can run a lot of things actually. I tested out the essentials and turns out you can also run a coffee machine off this. It's working. It appears to be working. My coffee machine is being powered by a generator. I don't know why this is so cool to me. And other than the coffee machine noises, you cannot hear the generator at all. It makes no noise to run. It like is so silent. Insane. We're living in the future. This would have been so handy during the cyclone again, because not only did our house not have power, but basically everywhere in the Gold Coast was out of power. So there was no coffee anywhere. God forbid. It powers almost all essential devices, including fridges, microwave, induction cookers, portable air conditioners, phones, laptops, drones, electric ovens, even your weeder. And when you have appliances plugged into the 2000 Plus, it has a 20 millisecond EPS, emergency power supply. So important appliances like your fridge or a CPAP machine stay powered in the blink of an eye during a power outage. It can power heavy duty devices up to 3000 watts. You can pair this with their solar panels, which you can use to recharge the power station. So you could, in theory, go completely off grid and have the power station and the solar panels. This is really going to come in handy when I finish building out the back of the Troopy and go on long road trips. Or you can just plug it into the wall or your car to charge it, and it charges surprisingly fast. It only takes 1.7 hours to charge the entire thing from the wall. It takes 6 hours on solar or 25 hours if you're charging it through a car. It also has an ultra long standby mode, so you can let this sit for 2 years uncharged and it will still retain 50% of its battery, which is insane. There's also an app that will tell you how much power you have, what your input and output is. You can turn the device on and off through the app as well. Everything that you're going to need to know is in the app. There's also a 3-year warranty on these and an extra extended 2-year warranty that is automatically applied when you buy from their website. It also has expandable capacity of up to 12 kilowatt hours for up to a week of off-grid living. It supports 5 add-on battery packs, which are sold separately and can power standard households or supply all of the power needs for outdoor exploration or remote work, which is what I'll be using it for. And it supports pass-through charging, which means you can charge the power station and also the devices plugged into the power station at the same time. The link to the Jackery Explorer 2000 Plus will be in the description. If you do grab one for yourself, make sure you use my link so they know I sent you. And a big thank you again to Jackery for sponsoring this video. Okay, what propaganda is she not falling for? Is she wearing barrel jeans? Because girly pop from before would hate that. Women labeled selfish for not wanting kids? Hard agree. People pleasing? Yes. Male loneliness epidemic, otherwise known as natural selection. Respecting disrespectful elders? Yes, I think lead with respect always. I think everyone deserves a baseline level of respect until they disrespect you, and then you can decide what you want to do with that. Girls are too much drama to befriend. Okay, a lot of these are, some of these I would say are like prolific examples of social propaganda, actually. These are like social pressures and tropes that show up everywhere and like hide in plain sight, really. Like at the family dinner table when you go home and you tell some distant relative that you don't want kids, that kind of thing. Women being labeled as selfish for not wanting kids, Make it make sense. Sorry, but the planet is a dumpster fire. The economy is hot garbage. Rent is $1 million a week. Half of you can't even wash a pan properly, but I'm selfish for not wanting to add kids to that mess. Are you well? Like, be serious. Most of you are traumatizing the kids you do have, so let's start there. The girls have too much drama. One, wrong. You have too much drama. Skill issue. I have never had drama with my female friendship groups. It's just, it's not a thing. If you manage to find drama in every single female friendship group that you enter, guess who the common denominator is? It is looking suspiciously like you might be the problem, my friend. The male loneliness epidemic, aka when actions have consequences, aka natural selection. Your genes are being selected against, my friend. You are being removed from the gene pool, quite literally. And it's fine to identify this as an issue and talk about it, but it's when they act like it's women's problem to solve. Why? Why would this be our problem? And no, I'm not talking about the wider trend amongst predominantly younger generations where people are more isolated, people hang out less in person, there are less like third spaces to go to where people can hang out that were very common back in the day. People spend more time online and less time in person. That is a structural societal problem. That's something that is like designed that way and it's not good and it's doing a lot of harm. That's not what the male loneliness epidemic is though. That's not what is being discussed when the male loneliness epidemic is being brought up. And honestly, the same people whinging about this supposed epidemic have always made fun of older women who are lonely and living with cats. There is so much I have to say about this. I could make a whole video about this. Honestly, I might just make an entire rant about it for Patreon only. So I don't know if the world needs to hear this. By the way, my Patreon is how I'm able to make these videos. There's bonus content over there. There's tiers for as low as $3 a month and it helps out a ton. Patreon.com/BrianWorth, but let's not get sidetracked. But they've been making fun of lonely old women and calling them cat ladies for centuries. And mind you, a lot of these women aren't actually lonely. A lot of them, very similar to now, are just happy having the companion of a lovely little pet and don't want to live with a man. Like, that is as simple as that was. But women wanting any agency, women having a life outside of men is always demonized. But they've always been ridiculed for being lonely and isolated and having a bunch of cats by the same men that are now saying it's women's job to solve their loneliness when they've only ever disparaged and made fun of women that they thought were lonely. Interesting. And these same men still use the lonely cat lady trope as a threat against young women who don't want to get married, and they think we're going to give a shit that they're lonely now. What? They can't work on themselves enough to be likable enough to attract women, and now they're throwing a tanty because they can't get the same emotional and physical labor from women that their granddads did, because women are nowhere near as trapped as our grandmothers were, and you want us to fix that as if it's a problem. Are you well? Be so fucking for real. Hang out with other men. What are you doing? Notice how there is no female loneliness epidemic because women hang out with other women. Sauna propaganda I'm not falling for. This is maybe a new niche for me. Only electricians can legally carry out electrical work in Australia. Council requires a permit for any permanent structure built on your property. Did this guy have like a run-in with the council about a sauna or something? You get naked after the sauna is built, but not before. That's propaganda I'm not falling for personally. Secondhand windows on marketplace are unlikely to meet specific thermal safety glass standards. What? I am so out of the loop, and this is sending me. Offering unlimited free saunas is not an adequate exchange for goods or services. What happened with this man and saunas? You know what? This is propaganda. I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm deeply confused, but I deeply respect it. I respect whatever it is this man is doing. Propaganda I'm not falling for. Let's go. Aliens don't exist. I'm on board. I think aliens exist. Death is the end. Who knows? None of us. Only humans have consciousness. Again, we don't know. Everything could have consciousness. I think mushrooms have consciousness. I don't want to elaborate on that. Imagination isn't real. I don't know if anyone's saying that. And bridges. What? My love, what happened? Girlie, what happened? Big Bridge been real quiet since she dropped this. You know what? I was on board until we got to the bridge slander. I've got questions. I know quite a few bridges. I think they can be good people. Bridges, what is it? Okay, I'm gonna Google it, and it's just a bunch of bridges that are coming up. What a surprise. Propaganda I'm not falling for. Other women are my competition. Other women are not competition. The real propaganda is pitting women against each other and convincing them that there is some kind of competition, because without that artificial rivalry installed in women from a young age. God forbid women might start collaborating and supporting each other, which we're seeing happening more and more, which men in power don't like. Love that. I need to have more stuff. Okay, no, you know what? We should all have less things, probably. Treating my partner like my property, okay. All of these just seem really healthy so far. Being suspicious of other people's intentions, okay. I need to be the prettiest person in the room, impossible. I don't know how much that's propaganda. Maybe it's like a personal thing. It doesn't matter how pretty you are, that is unachievable. Shein hauls, Shein in general, I hard agree. There is nothing on Shein that anyone needs. It is a net negative to society. Romantic relationships are more important than friendships. This just seems like a super healthy list. A very self-aware, very healthy list. Unironically, platonic relationships would solve the male loneliness epidemic. But I don't think we're even ready to talk about that yet, even though it should be discussion point number 1. Anyway, propaganda I'm not falling for. Teslas, Apple Watch, Love Island USA. Okay. Forcing people to drink. Yeah, we shouldn't be doing that. Gen Z slang, all of it. 10+ step skincare routine. Correct. Overly unique / out of control baby names. Let's talk about that. No, and she's got a point there, because out of control baby names is how we got this monstrosity of a list. Haley, McCarty, Navy, Maylee, and Lakin, but they are just spelt. They're spelt all right. They are really overspelt, if anything. Well, she chose the name Lakin, and this is Lakin now, 11 years old. How was this 11 years ago? I swear oh my god, I can't with that. That's doing my head in. The comments kill me. Beautiful day at the lake with our daughter. I named my son Lycanthropy, pronounced Tom. My daughter is Sailor, pronounced Mary, of course, so I completely get it. Anyway, here are my personal submissions for propaganda that I am falling for, and then we will move on to propaganda that I am not falling for. Number 1, as much screen time as possible the second that I open my eyes. I don't need to elaborate, and I will report back if anything changes. Number 2, getting a little sweet treat. I love having a little sweet treat sometimes. Once in a blue moon, it's got to be a treat. You can't have a sweet treat every day, otherwise it's not a sweet treat, it's just a sweet. Number 3, hot girl walks. I will not be walking for no reason unless it has girly pop branding. That did work on me. Hot girl walks are better than normal walks. Again, I will not elaborate. Number 4, the concept of moving in silence. Now, this is not because I'm grinding in secret. I'm not being clandestine and sneakily going to the gym at 5 a.m. It's because I just forget to update anyone in my life about anything that I'm doing or anything I have ever done, and it's a flaw that I refuse to work on. So this trend of moving in silence, love it. Been doing it. And last but not least, oat milk. I don't know when the hate for oat milk started, but I'm not joining in. I love oat milk, and my favorite thing about it is that when I drink it, I don't wake up the next morning having to run to the toilet to propaganda I'm not falling for. I refuse. I will not join you. Benson Boone, I'm not falling for it. I'm not buying it. At the same time, I'm also not falling for or buying the hate against Benson Boone. How can I be against both at the same time? The duality of man. Google it, I don't know. He's a talented singer, but the songs of his that are popular are not the best in my opinion, and I have to hear them all the time. You see? In the same vein, I thought it was sick when I saw him flip off a piano one time and start singing. I thought it was a bit annoying when I saw it the 800th time though. So, do you understand? Next on the list, Tradwife propaganda. And I do truly mean propaganda with this one. Like full-blown Pinterest-filtered ideology pushed in 4K. The qualm I have with it is that like these lifestyles are fake. They are not real. No one lives like this without hiring a team of people and staff to help them do it. Caveat, the few people that do actually live like this do not have that aesthetic because it is impossible to have both at the same time. You can just tell the people consuming this stuff have no idea what a farm actually is. They have no idea what homesteading is. They don't know how any of it works. Yet, like in reality, off a screen. This living off a farm, harvesting your own crops, milking your own cows, making everything from scratch, kids running around happily, homeschooling all of them at the same time while doing all of the rest of it, and not having your kids be intellectually inept or socially stunted, mixed with like this gender essentialist nonsense, is literally just conservative influencers selling a lifestyle that does not exist in real life. Here's the thing. When we did farm all of our own crops and milk all of our own cows and raise chickens and harvest this and make that, when we did all of that, it was because people lived in villages. It quite literally takes a village to do this stuff. You cannot just have 2 adults and 16 kids and live off-grid, self-sustained. This is no different to any other influencer, any other lifestyle influencer that is selling a lifestyle that is completely unattainable for a normal person. Trad lifestyle propaganda and the Kardashians are, funnily enough, two sides of the exact same coin. That, you know, this traditional conservative fantasy and hyper-filtered, hyper-curated Instagram baddies, also two sides of the same coin. None of it is real. And to be clear, I am not judging anyone that enjoys homemaking, that wants to do homesteading, and wants to dip their toes in whatever it is. Go off, label your jars, bake your bread. But where I have a problem is selling it as if this is something that everyone can do. It's just not. And selling it as if it's something even the people in these videos are doing, because it's just not. And the moment it becomes this is how women should behave and they should be forced to do it is where I obviously have a problem with it. Because it's no longer just an aesthetic, then it's like a patriarchal MLM again. And more importantly, it's setting an expectation on women and men, to be fair, that is impossible to achieve. You know, the Nara Smith, all of that, and Ballerina Farm, these are really good examples of what I'm talking about. I don't consume their content, so I don't really know the ins and outs of anything. I'm not making any claims about their lives. But there are a few things that are public knowledge now. Ballerina Farm is apparently pretty big in the Tradwife scene. Oh wait, the guy's dad founded JetBlue Airways and they apparently have multiple assistants and staff. Not exactly the sourdough slinging, bonnet wearing farm fairy tale that the Tradwife industry likes to sell people. But again, I could do a whole video on that. I could do a whole video just dedicated to all of this, which if you want, leave a comment below. Happy to do it. Moving on. Labubu. Lahoo-hoo. What is going on here? Again, I thought this was like another word like Lulu and we were shortening it. I'm like, maybe it's about lobotomies. I'm gonna go get a labubu. I don't know. But dolls? We're buying dolls in this economy? Put that money into a compounding interest account, girly pop. What are we doing? And this is obviously in jest. I don't want to yuck someone else's yum. If you enjoy labubus, if it brings you light, go nuts, babe. We had Beanie Kids when I was a kid. That was like the stuffed animal collecting trend that was going around at the time. And it's when like eBay was first a thing. Oh my god. Well, that sentence aged me and just threw me back nearly 30 years. But anyway, QR code menus. QR code menus. I'm with the boomers on this one. I hate it. Like, yeah, let me just go stand outside this cafe, blinded by the sun, trying to scan a greasy laminated square that is stuck to the table. And my phone won't load and the website's glitchy. And why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we doing this? We had a good thing going. Menus? Staff? We had that shit down for like hundreds of years. We were nailing it. Like, what are we doing? We veered off path. Why? Ozempic culture. This rubs me the wrong way, and I will preface this with the fact that I know nothing about, you know what, I know nothing about it, so maybe I shouldn't talk about it, but the culture surrounding it really rubs me the wrong way. People like using it purely to lose weight. You know, suddenly every celebrity has a sunken in face. It's a Ozempic face. They're all very skinny in like a really brittle, unhealthy way, while they are simultaneously selling people like Pilates courses and saying that's how they did it. It all just rubs me the wrong way. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a medication meant for diabetics, and it became so in demand that now diabetics can't really get access to it. It's like a lot harder to get access to. So the people who actually need it, they're not able to access it anywhere near as easily because we're using it for weight loss instead of like, you know, eating well and exercising and the things that we know work. And the things that we know our body needs, and it's just being hoarded by rich people so they can fit into their Met Gala gowns. Which just screams District 1. I am riling myself up, but what's new? And that's one thing that is already annoying. The fact that they are then selling it back to us as wellness is where, oh, it really steams my veggies. And of course it's getting marketed as a lifestyle now. Celebrity What I Eat in a Days is just featuring 6 almonds and a single sigh. And the caption's about like feeling so aligned lately. Aligned with a pharmaceutical supply chain collapse is what is actually happening. It's just very dystopian and I don't like it. And last but not least, the 5 a.m. club. If I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to go for a run and start my day, if any of you ever catch me doing that, take me around the back and put me down because something is wrong. Something is deeply wrong and cannot be fixed. Anyway, sometimes propaganda looks like a dictator on TV or like 2 queens going at it because they're having a divorce, apparently. But other times propaganda looks like a Pinterest board or like a suspiciously aesthetic reel with fascist undertones. Anyway, those are some things that I'm not subscribing to, and other things that I have internalized with open arms, like an oat milk flat white, even if it's $7. What is some propaganda that you are not falling for? And actually, what is some propaganda you are falling for? Because I feel like I'm more interested in that. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, just subscribe, babe. You're in for the long haul. And remember, you don't have to get up at 5 a.m. every day to fix your life. You could probably just delete TikTok and eat a sandwich.